What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another live stream with the Brown Gent. It's great to see you guys. I got a ton of alpha to drop, so please forgive me if I don't answer your questions in the chat because I want to get through everything and then I'll open it up for questions that you guys have. There's so much to talk about. Let's get into it. But before we do, just know nothing I say is financial advice and you got to do your own research. If you're interested in joining our private group for extra coaching and support, it's called the Web3 Secret Society, and you can find that in the YouTube membership right down below. Now, the first update is Dimension. A couple hours ago, they announced that they have completed their redistribution. So what that means is basically some people claimed their Dimension tokens. Some unfortunate souls slept on it. They missed out. The claim period's over and they didn't get it. And their loss is our gain. So what they did was they took the reallocation and applied it to the people who did claim the token. I heard some stuff that they were only going to provide it to the biggest stakers, but that is not true. If you check crypto Twitter, a ton of people have gotten a new reallocation. I know mine originally was like 260. And if you want, by the way, everything I'm going to show in this video is linked in the description below. You go back to genesis.dimension.xyz. Remember, be very careful not to click on fake links. I've linked it below, but basically, Dimension is going to use your EVM address. So it starts with the OX. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to grab that address, the one that I claimed before you guys. It was like 250 or 260 total. And now when I check it, it comes out to 379.98. So they haven't airdropped this yet. This is what's going to be available for me to receive once their Dimension mainnet goes live. So that's pretty awesome. You know, feel bad for those people who missed out, but so be it. In other news, some of you may remember that this Doki coin was making the waves as well. So people were talking about a Doki drop. I think a ton of influencers were saying it was shady just because the way Doki was tweeting. Eventually, somebody had sort of shown how the contract actually works. And then everybody jumped in and did their sort of claim or sort of put their hat in the ring to qualify. So I did much of the same thing as well, following everybody else's lead. And today, they are showing some of your allocation. Some of the other gates are not up yet, like Injective and a few other chains. But either way, you can go to this website, dokicoin.io/dashboard. Remember, it's also linked in the description below. I'm going to connect my Kepler just to show you guys, and we'll just do this quick approval. I'm qualified for $1,481.80. I can sort of do that, or I can sort of 30% rest burn. So this is sort of, you have to wait to get the option, but you might want to see how you're doing. Once you're done that, I always do this when I'm going to something that I'm not used to connecting. I will go and you don't see this on the screen, but I go to Kepler, go to my settings. I go to security and privacy, connect to websites, and I will close out that protocol specifically. In this case, Doki coin. Just be careful. I'm not saying this place is sketchy. The thing was audited, or not audited, but the contracts were dissected. So it's safe, but just get in the habit of doing that on sites that you're not, that are not official sites. Like when you're not on Uniswap. Even then, I don't like staying connected. I tend to disconnect a ton. Guess what? You have to reconnect. So be it. The next update is I woke up bright and early this morning, and I think many people did, to try to mint the Chroma Guardian House NFT. If you remember, Chroma is probably most memorable by the pain in the ass Galaxy campaign that it had for 9 weeks, where we sort of sweated to get a Quest Master NFT. Now, that's all potatoes compared to the excitement around the Chroma Guardian House. So unfortunately, they didn't do a whitelist, so it basically got botted up very early. And this is very relevant because the way this works is they do it based on a quantity per dollar amount. So the first 100 NFTs were at 300, and the next 100 were at 350. So basically, you sort of see it go all the way up. Currently, we are sitting there, and the price is $950 with only 78 left. So where does that put us in terms of allocation? We're on the other end of it. So there's basically less than maybe 550-ish things left out of the original amount, which is pretty absurd because it is slogged through to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 4.5K. So it's a lot. And, for those people who ask me, is it too late? What I would say here is I bought my first one at 500, my second at 650. At 950, it's not a really good deal. That being said, there's an opportunity cost with everything. So if you want to grab it, I'm not going to blame you. Please don't pay full price. I've put the link in the description below to get an additional 5% off if you use my referral link. To be honest, you can use anyone's referral link. If you want to use mine, go for it. It would help me out. But if you know somebody else that you're tight with, use theirs. It doesn't matter to me. Just make sure that you're using somebody's referral link so you save on your purchase. On top of that, you can sort of use WMX.E, which I would avoid. It would give you 5% off, but everyone who used it, as suspected, did not have a good time, and this token is not valuable on the Chroma chain, and you lose a ton of money in fees. So what you save in this 5% off, you get a massive headache, and you lose even more money in cash. So this is basically, I have two NFTs, as you can see here, 1163 and 2636. They're all the same thing. I want to remind you what this NFT does very quickly, because it's very important to understand. The first is, if you buy this NFT, you are unable to transfer it until a token generation event in June, which means it's stuck on that wallet. You can't resell it. It's sort of soul-bound. Then every month after, you will get 10 KRO tokens, which you can sell, do whatever you want to with it. But the real benefit is you get to sort of boosting a priority validator selection and really getting a reward share by staking this NFT. So my expectation is in the most bearish case, I think this NFT is worth $600 to $700 to $800. This NFT can be worth a couple $1,000. You don't know. Remember, not financial advice. It really depends on Chroma. And I'm going to go over what CC2V said after. But the one thing I do want to remind you guys of, and this is another opportunity, people were selling off their Chroma Questmaster NFT to raise funds. So there are only 29,300 currently in existence. You can't create any more of the puzzle or phase NFTs that are meant to create this. In fact, phase 6 seems to be the one that everyone seems to want. Either way, this may be a good opportunity to pick some of these up and sit on them for a few months and flip them. This is an opportunity I think that you could take. You may want to wait till it goes a little lower. The other thing I would say, and this is something I noticed here as well, is I like sort of doing a bit of speculation at low cost. So Chroma Genesis NFT came out a long time ago, and there is about 90,000 of these, and they're like $1 or $2, maybe $4. So I bought a couple of these because I'm speculating, hey, this may be giving you a bonus. So why not just potentially put a couple dollars down and speculate on this? I mean, if it's $5, we've all paid $20 for a gas transaction on Ethereum. Come on, this is not the worst. So you don't have to do it. I chose to do it because, I'm not a gambler, but I think the risk to reward is good here. What will be interesting, and the one thing I will say, if you have multiple NFTs, if you have multiple Questmaster, multiple Genesis NFTs, it might be worthwhile to think about creating extra wallets so you don't have 3 Questmasters in one, because there's a potential, I'm not saying there is, but if they do a snapshot and they find that you have more than one NFT, because you shouldn't have more than one NFT, right? They may go, well, one NFT, 100 NFTs, they all do the same thing for the Questmaster, or they all do the same thing for the Chroma Genesis. Try to split them up. You have literally nothing to lose by splitting it up it's just a little more pain in the ass. Just remember which wallets they're in and sort of have that there. I don't want to sort of see people who have like 10 Questmaster NFTs get destroyed because they sort of kept them all in the same wallet. This is a high risk of happening. If you plan on selling the NFT, I mean, even if you plan on selling the NFT, what about the snapshot, right? So just be very careful. It could happen like Manta, however, where you just trade in the NFT for tokens, but we don't know that for sure. So I would rather err on the side of caution. So CC2 Ventures, who is really good for giving a lot of alpha on airdrops on Twitter, probably the only one that I follow on Twitter for this. He was able to buy a bunch of the Chroma Guardian House NFTs at $400 each. At the time he wrote this, he was saying it was 900. If you think Chroma is undervalued, fair price, overvalued, it really depends, right? Like if you want to buy it. So basically, he's saying he's bullish for a couple things, for a couple reasons. Their parent company is massive in Asia and makes $352 million a year. They're going to transition into a ZK rollup powered by Scroll and an L2 narrative. The L2 narrative is super strong. The Chroma will work in a symbiotic nature with Wemix. Honestly, I could care less about this. Wemix sucks. Although Wemix does trade at a $2.3 billion valuation, FDV. And then basically it goes largely unnoticed on CT because CT is Western prevalent. So he basically bought a bunch of NFTs for that reason. And he's very bullish on it. And I very much agree with these posts. Moving on from Chroma, I was saying in the private group that this is a busy week. Today was Chroma. Tomorrow is the NFT mint for YAKA Finance. So the YAKA Finance NFT, I've already gone over this in massive detail, so I'm not going to cover it again. But just so you know, there are only 2,000 available, and there are 2,200 OG and whitelist. Thankfully, I won. If you followed my instructions a few weeks ago, you could have easily won an OG whitelist, which is you go into their Discord, post a tweet, it gets 200 views, which literally all people did was spam it everywhere, and then you literally get, you basically get the whitelist if they, if you have a few followers and a few likes and whatever. So that's the really cool thing about the OG whitelist is you're guaranteed. Regular whitelist is not, and then people will try to mint on the open market. The OG is 120 say, and so it's the same as the whitelist, and say token is like 65 cents. So this is like a $75 to $80 NFT. I think this could be huge. It comes with a ton of rewards as well. I'm not going to go over the full details here, but I will include a link in the description below for you to read up on that further. Also, when we were in the Discord this morning, right, because I'm sitting there, waiting to see what happens with the Chroma airdrop, because there was a whole the whole thing was messed up, right? Like the mods weren't around and everything else, and people were losing their minds. Well, I popped into YAKA to understand, okay, well, where's the mint link? And one of the mods posted this because people were like, hey, I've used a testnet. Why didn't I get a whitelist? And they're like, listen, the testnet is not for whitelists, but we will give testnet users an allocation out of our token. So what does that tell you? Well, I hope you guys are going into the YAKA Finance testnet and farming those task points. As a reminder, and by the way, I've done a video on this, so I won't go into too much detail. 410 right now is the number you want to aim for. And the way you get that is by doing the following activities: doing swaps and liquidity. And you want to find out by going to the liquidity pools, or in my case, my positions. Here are all the pools I want. These are the only pools that exist. So I made one for each. And I also swap to get the tokens for each. I swap once forward and once back. If you need sort of tokens for this, the faucet link is on the top right as well. Do this till you get 410 points. Everything else is sort of bonus, and they're going to have extra things like completed lock testing, completed vote testing, and completed launchpad testing. So this, you literally have no excuse if you miss this. The next thing, and why we're having a busy week, is the Hydro token. So that actually, it doesn't come out on Wednesday, but the farming campaign starts Wednesday. So this thing came out about 2 weeks ago. I covered it, but I wanted to remind you. So the phase 1 was a testnet airdrop. The phase 2 is an injective staking airdrop, which is sort of what we got for staking with validators. And then here is the next airdrop. So from the mainnet launch for 4 weeks, they're offering the farming feature as part of the initial liquidity strategy. This is very similar to Dojo Swap. Basically, what they're doing here is you stake your injective, you mint your H injective for hydro, and you stake it on the farm. And by doing that, you get points. Points is what everyone does these days. Instead of giving you specific token allocations, you then convert your points to hydro, and then you can claim this after the TGE. This is going on for 4 weeks. And let me just go back to the date to show you. It literally starts on Wednesday. I don't know why I can't find the date here. Oh, here we go. Date January 31st. So it literally starts on Wednesday. You got 4 weeks. And what I did this morning was I bought a ton of injective. I moved things around. Also, injective went up to like $38, $39. I bought these at 35 this morning, 35, 36. So hey, pretty good. Make sure you're ready because you want to maximize this, because this is a straight linear approach. However much injective you stake, that's as much as you're going to get. Remember, this is a whale drop. So the one thing I want to tell you is if you notice that there's way too many people in here, right? Because they're doing points, it'll likely be a fraction for the allocation. So if it's over or basically super saturated, then you can take a look at the protocols where the injective came from. Maybe Dojo Swap had a ton of liquidity leave their protocol to come here. Well, then you can go to Dojo Swap and farm there. It's really important to keep your eyes open and look for where the opportunity is. The next one is not a fan favorite. It's the Metas testnet. And they just finished week 2 of season 1. And they basically made a post at 100,000 contributors in the first 2 weeks of community testing, probably 100,000 really, really annoyed contributors. As you remember, I did a live stream trying to show off this testnet. It did not go so well. Then I did a wrap-up video after sort of completing everything. As you can see here, it's all done. If you were stuck on Midas, all you have to do is enter the lottery, right? So you sort of click here, you buy a ticket. Let me just try to load this. And then when the draw happens, so I'm not going to go with the network for other reasons, but in this case, the buy lottery ticket would be here. You click on that. You could buy the lottery ticket, wait till the draw. So in this case, 3 days and 20 minutes. When that happens, you will get your completed. You can get all of these very simply by clicking on this and following the instructions. And then if you want to maximize your points, I'm currently at 89.18. I'd be much higher if this system literally didn't crash every like 5 minutes with their RPC, because it's a piece of junk. What I would do is just go into these protocols and do more of the same. So on Tethesis, add TLP liquidity, swap tokens, open a long and short. You don't only do it once. This is the points you get the first time you do it. But every time you do it after, it's cumulative. Now, there is a sort of diminishing returns on it because I think there's a cap for each. That's what I've been told. But I think you can get up to like 14, 15,000 points, which without doing any of these things, I think you get to like maybe 3,000 or 5,000 points. So it's something to keep in mind. Now, this is something, GRVT, which is the ZK Sync campaign. I basically forgot about this for over a month. And then somebody on Twitter posted about it last week. And basically, I don't know why, but I don't have referral codes to give out. I have to wait 2 more days. However, if you are looking at this, and it's February 1st, and you're watching this video, DM me if you're actually interested in a referral code. I'll have 2 more. But basically, I've given out 4 so far, and I've sort of had 3 people indirectly could be invited. What you want to do is sign up for this because it's part of the ZK Sync, right? You basically, if you refer a minimum of 3 friends or 4 referrals, you get 1 ticket. You connect your Twitter account, boom. You follow GRVT on Twitter, 2 tickets. You basically have 4 raffle tickets. And the way it works is each time you use a ticket, you get a box. And each box it looks to make sure it's the rarest box. If it's not, you don't keep it. So if you open a common, then you open a rare, then you hold on to the rare. If you open an uncommon, you still hold on to the rare. And here are the rarity levels. So basically, this is what it looks like. And this box will basically have the total number of GRVT points that you're going to get. So pretty cool. Something you should look into. I wish I had a referral code for you guys. I'm sure if you look on Twitter, you can find it. The last thing I want to talk about before we open it up to the chat to see if anyone has any pressing questions. As you know, Pixels completed their airdrop campaign for season 2 about a week and a half ago. Honestly, I was relieved. 2 Fridays ago, I was farming. They are basically on the precipice of launching their Pixel token, and there will be no more chances to earn Pixel before the launch. Now, we are going to hear very soon about their token generation event. However, if you're probably like, hey, like, oh my God, is that it for Pixels? I just heard about this. That sucks. There's more. What happened is they're actually doing another campaign to get everyone excited for the token generation event. Now, as a quick aside, I did get 16,000 points. Wait, this was during. I actually ended up at like 1,400. Sorry, I'm using the wrong screenshot. I ended up like 14 or 1,500 rank, which is not bad. But if you go check this out over here, they are giving away prizes every day. So the first prize they gave out was actually a farmland. The farmland is worth like $5,500, and all you had to do was take a screenshot of Pixels. You could have literally signed up, taken a screenshot, typed when Pixel, and bang, $5,000. Thank you. And then every single day, they have very similar prizes. Nothing to that extent in the last 3 days, but they're giving away hoodies. They gave away $250 to 4 people in different tokens. So there are some opportunities. Don't sleep on it, because you never know what you could win, and it's literally the freest thing to do. Besides, I think Pixel is a really cool game, and I'm super happy that I stumbled on it when I did. Now, let's go into the comments and see what's going on. We got Boss Gino, hello Brown Agent, love and respect from New Mexico. I want to ask if you're planning to run a node. No, I'm not, only because it's super, super complicated. I'm not smart enough to know how to run it properly. I barely have my internet working at all times. Also, I believe we can still be eligible for Eigenlayer. I'm glad you brought that up. Eigenlayer is actually something that will be coming up very soon. February 5th, they are opening up their liquidity deposits for restake tokens. So please go look up the video I did on Swell Network and Eigenlayer. It's literally somewhere in my channel. And the reason I say this is you can earn a ton of airdrops just by being an Eigenlayer, and also the Eigenlayer airdrop should be massive as well. What about Stacks, STX? Well, you know what? Maybe I will talk about this. So Bitflow, so Stacks uses, I use Bitflow with Stacks, and what Stacks does is, as you know, I've already have a video on it. They actually have decommissioned their older pools. So they call them beta pools. Let me just open this up. I did this earlier today, actually. So what you do is you go into the bitflow.finance website. I will put this link in the description below after the video. You click beta pools if you were in this before. Most people were in STX to STX because it paid out 2.5 points per at staking DAO. You then go to migrating, and basically you go in here and you remove any liquidity that you have. I have 0 liquidity because I removed it. They weren't giving any rewards specifically here. And then you go and add the liquidity yourself to the active pool, and that's when you have it transferred. So it says here, my total LP token balance at the end of the beta program was this. To unlock your beta points and or qualify for Bitflow OG NFT, please finish migrating your liquidity to the active pool, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So that happened. I'm going to go talk to them to find out, did I qualify for an NFT or not? But basically, that's the sort of synopsis of this. Make sure that you move your pool if you haven't already. STX is a good. Stacks is good. Stacks is good. Including Babylon and Shardium, step-by-step guide with your referral to get discount is very much appreciated. Babylon and Shardium. I don't know about those. Can you, Boss Gino, can you put that in the chat? Like any sort of information that you think I should have? And then the other thing I would say is, hey, like I'll look into it, but I can't promise you I'll make a video on it. I do a ton of filtering of projects. If I wouldn't do something, no thanks. We got Ali in here. Are you doing a scroll guide? So I did one a while ago. When I first started doing airdrop guides, I'm likely going to do a more concise one very, very soon. Okay. Akash says, unable to complete long and short on Metis. So here's what I would do if I were you. If you're on Metis, and by the way, I'm showing you this, but I expect you to watch the video I did before. You go to Tethesis, you hit start now. And here's the secret, which I learned live. When you go long, you have to make sure the liquidity is higher than $10. You see how the available liquidity is 278? There is no way we're going to do it. Now it's 122.48, 56.8. You have to literally put your $10 in here, right? You got to do that, get it ready, make sure the liquidity is big enough, and then submit. The same thing happens for short, where the available liquidity is 1434 right now. Akash, please try that out. I promise you that'll solve your problem. Okay. Pinky Jams, I completed the lottery task, but now the completion is gone. System is busted. Well, what I would do is I would wait 3 days until the draw, 3.5 days till the drawing ends, and then you should get it. I wouldn't worry about that. Instead, if you're on Metis, focus on doing the other tasks again and again and again until you notice that the points you're gaining are not that big. Does that make sense? What are your top 5 projects that are still currently possible to farm? Okay, so for me, when I talk about farming projects, right, there are low effort projects. Something low effort is like Hydrofinance, YAKA testnet, right? These are all like low energy, very easy to do. The thing I would say is when you're doing that, you have to look at what's gonna pay off big. And I think the biggest payoffs are ZK Sync and Layer 0. Those are the top 2 that I would be farming consistently. And if you want to have a good idea of how you're doing on those, I would go, and I'm going to sort of show you this here, but I have to sort of just check something quickly. So, okay. It's a site called Wsor. What Wsor does is you can literally put in your wallet address, anyone's wallet address, and hit check sir, and it tells you how you're doing. It tells you like how many gates you've got. So in this case, where am I? I rank 12, so I have 31 unique days, 19 unique weeks, 8 unique months, 307 days, 15 interactive contracts, volume 39,000. Why? You know what's funny? This is all legit. Like I wasn't farming transactions. I was using SushiSwap and doing I implemented a lot of their protocols in my day-to-day. Whenever I would do something, I would favor the protocols that were layer 0 supported, or layer 0 that touches it, right? I'm going to make a more like comprehensive video on this. I'm going to make a video on like how you can farm the bigger airdrops without like doing this like stupid activity where you trade back and forth. But that's layer 0. You can literally do this for all of these. You can go to layer 0. You can literally type it in and it can tell you exactly where you stand. Now the criteria is very similar. But what you want to make sure you do is also like cross-reference that with everything else, because sometimes certain protocols aren't picked up. Okay. Or they're delayed. Okay. You think the Chroma NFT drop was such a scam? Well, it wasn't a scam. It was just unprofessional. So here's what I said on Twitter. They literally, okay, I don't mean to rant, but no one who was part of the team was online during the mint. So there's no mods and there's no one from the team. Very disappointing. Number 2, they had a referral program but you couldn't see your NFT, and your referral code was on the NFT. So like, because there was a bug, how could you grow your NFT's value? The whole point of the way they built their NFT was the more people you refer, the more that NFT evolves, and it gets more rewards and does more things. Because of this, they couldn't do it. Most people literally just were like, hey, I'm just going to keep signing up because I can't wait to save 5%. The price is going to keep going up, which is fair, which is why it's also really, really weird they did it this way. If they wanted to have a referral program, I would have kept the price flat. Start higher, start at 500, start at 600. Figure out what your EV price is, right? So I'm sure if you take all of the amounts that they had times the quantity and then divided by the overall amount, you'd have a sort of average dollar cost per NFT that you want. Make it that and keep it flat so people aren't sitting there doing this. What happened is, because they did it this way, they let a ton of bots in. They did not whitelist, did not do any sort of preventative measures by this. Like, the only thing they did was not post the mint URL or not have the mint URL active until right before. But it didn't matter. 5,000 people joined. I joined. I literally, when they were 90 of the 100, 90 of the 100, 300 NFT up, it literally said, oh, it's sold out. We got to go back, which is the dumbest thing when you're trying to race, because obviously somebody's going to get it before you do because you're trying to check out. So like, charge me higher, charge me 350. Don't just sit there and go, oh, well, I'm going to go send you back. And now you can't get back. Now you can't get back in queue. It's just really stupid how they did it. And then on top of that, they apparently gave out referral codes to influencers. They didn't give it to me. I'm not butthurt or anything, but I wish that one of these influencers had posted about it because it's in their best interest. But instead, no one did, and no one they didn't show up. And guess what happened? People just paid full price, and it was just complete waste. Complete waste. Would have been a great way to do promotion, but they could have done so much better. And I'm not saying it's the team's fault because some things you can't control. Yes, like the server did get overloaded and nothing worked on the server when they had like 5,000 people concurrently. I'm a little confused about the Chroma potential in the future, but I'm sure this happens with everything. I saw this happen with Ethereum as well when I was trying to mint that card game. I forget what it was called. It's that card game that's really popular now on OpenSea. I forget what it is, like Element. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay. In Metis, did I have a problem providing liquidity in hummus pools? I did when I used stablecoins. So here's what I would do if I were you. Go back here, go to hummus, hit start now. I'm just going to open this up. So I got a ton of pages. You hit launch app, and we'll switch right now. Sure. Okay. When you go to pool, you're given multiple options. Weighted, main, alt pools. You go to the weighted pool, you literally click on quad crypto. Tri-stable never works. The stuff, when it doesn't involve Metis, it doesn't seem to work. I click on this, I deposit, and all I'm going to do is pick 2 tokens. You can literally, because it's custom, you could literally just pick 0.01 Metis, preview, do this way, and literally that's all you need to do to add liquidity. Like, it looks a lot more complicated than it is, but very, very simple. So I'm just going to approve the transaction so you see it happening. This has the least likelihood of falling apart. Then again, we're on the Metis testnet, so literally anything can happen because this thing's a piece of junk. And we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to approve that, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, so the thing was done. And let me just remind me, what was this over here? 8918, did it go up? Maybe it takes a little bit. Okay, we'll wait. Transaction submitted, okay. We'll come back in a second and see if I've already capped out my liquidity because I was doing this pretty much a ton, okay. Wednesday doesn't work well. I did about 10K in volume yesterday. Yeah, so sometimes it takes longer to update. Also, it depends on what contracts they're including. I would use Wsor to Wsor's less aggressive. So basically, it's much more conservative on your estimate. So if Wsor's saying you're doing well, you're good. If Wsor's not saying you did well, just keep that in mind. And ask yourself, can I do a little more? Do I need to do a little more? Maybe you're doing enough, right? I'm going to assume the 10K in volume that you did was on one specific contract. Here's a little cheat. If you want to get a ton of volume without spending money, use zero lend. Zero lend, just deposit the liquidity. I went in there, deposited 2 ETH, withdraw 2 ETH, deposited 2 ETH, withdraw 2 ETH. All of a sudden, things are skyrocketing. The volume is skyrocketing, and you hit your thing. And your gas fees are like 0.001 whatever, like cents, 0.001 cents. I just tried to do the Metis long position now with available liquidity, but my position is still stuck on opening. Yeah, so what I would do is just sort of restart, disconnect your wallet, reconnect, make sure that the RPC is up, because sometimes it comes down, and then try it. It should work. Was all that on Galaxy just to be able to purchase the NFT? No, those are two different things. So the Chroma on Galaxy is a Questmaster NFT. That thing is currently worth $120, $130. It costs about like $50 to $60 to make now, because, well, you can't even make it now anymore. They turned it off yesterday, and people were really upset because they're like, you gotta extend it for another day, which literally will never end. If you extend it for one person, you're gonna extend it forever. Stupid. Basically, Boom Bop saying finish the Chroma quest in the last hour, almost totally wasted $70. Well, if you finished it, you could sell that thing if you want for $120. Oh, you said almost because you almost didn't have like phase 6 or something, right? So you got there. Perfect. That's good. I misread it for a second. Any point in staking AKT for airdrops? Not so much yet. I have it unstaked in my wallet. Did CC2 make up the Pyth airdrop rumor? I don't think so. In fact, I think he was saying the opposite. I think he was saying, like, people say that he dumped on people. He didn't do anything like that. That guy is very transparent. And what I would say is, I'd say 95% of the people on crypto Twitter. I don't consider myself a crypto Twitter person. I use Twitter like a recreational person. But 95% of the people who post on crypto Twitter are a bunch of liars, a bunch of frauds, and a bunch of fakes. All they do is take screenshots of fake test nets and sort of doctor their images. You can tell for the most part when they do it, because they do a shit job. If you have anybody going in and actually like going pixel by pixel, they'll find like that these people didn't like do it perfectly, because they're not doing it to do it perfectly. They're trying to do a job that's going to fool the majority of people, right? The people who aren't dissecting it like this. And then the same people also just post the same bullshit threads with no information. They don't want to help you. And then they hold on to the alpha to themselves. I know this because, well, I get approached by people to do random services all the time. Now, I've gotten approached by legitimate companies, and I'm in a talk to have a sort of affiliate code for the channel. But that's because it's a service that I use and I like. But then there are people messaging me saying, hey, do you want to buy like 100,000 Twitter followers? And I'm like, no. I remember telling the person yesterday, I want to do it. Like, I don't want to pay for that. What's the honor in that? And they're like, oh, well, you have to pay. I'm like, no, you don't get it. It's not about paying for something. I want to earn it. I want to have followers because I've earned it by sort of showing that I provide value. And then the guy gave me the middle finger and blocked me. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? It just happens this way. But that's the thing, right? So you just got to be very careful on Twitter. Don't look at how many people follow somebody. Look at like the absolute drivel that they put out. You know, there are a couple of us on YouTube who provide you with legitimate information. I like to think that I'm one of those. I'm not getting anything out of making this video for you guys. I like sharing this information because, one, yes, it does help grow my channel, but also I like documenting all this because I have a ton of people message me all the time. And they're not in the private group, so I don't want to like sit down and help them, right? If you're in the private group, you get like the white glove service. But if you're not, I just say, hey, I posted a video on this, go check it out, right? Because like I'm not gonna like be focused on that. Like I gotta spend time supporting the people who are actually in the group, who are actually like sort of in it to win it. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's pretty much all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, like a little different. Like, tell me what you guys think. I made a vote a couple days ago, and I asked you guys, do you want to see like videos like this where I talk about all the updates and big events that are going on? I also asked you, do you want to see, airdrop guides? Because like I find a lot of people do not create actual airdrop guides. What they do is they just say, oh, do this, do this, do this. They don't show anything. What I want to do is create guides where somebody watches me the first time, sees if they want to do any of this stuff. The second time they watch it, they follow along and do every single step like I do. And that's sort of probably the best way to do it, especially in crypto where it's very challenging, it's tough. You want to make sure you got sort of somebody having your back. So we'll see. You guys let me know if you like this video in the comments below. Would really appreciate it. If you want coaching support, you know where to find it. The YouTube membership, Web3 Secret Society. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the video. If you got value, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.